Now, as usual, I pull a random card for our theme each week. Tonight, I wanted to deliberately choose a particular card to serve as our theme because it fits in so well and it's a powerful one. This is from the Inner Oracle card deck, which I'll explain more later, but it's card number 3. It's in the Life Leadership Paragon Self-Acceptance suit, and the face value on it is be who you are, walk your own path. I think we pulled this one the other day, didn't we? We pull this one, seems to be somewhat frequently, but this one fits right in with my topic tonight, which is coming out of the closet, whichever one you're in. I think that's a fascinating topic, and I'm kind of interested and excited to talk about it. When you think about it, nearly everyone lives in some kind of a closet. And basically, when you're in the closet, we're hiding something, right? We've got some secret we don't want other people to know about. So most people, not all, but most people probably live in some kind of a closet and largely of their own making, although not always, but to one extent or another, it almost always is to their own making, or at least they continue it. We've heard that term coming out of the closet for many, many years, and people largely associate that with, gay. You're, announcing that you're gay. Well, that's not the only way to come out of the closet. There are other ways too, but that's a big one. There's the family secret closet, Let me tell you about a guy I know real well. Grew up in an alcoholic home, and, there was a lot of stuff that went on, violent stuff in terms of not so much to the people in the family, but there's a bug on me. Bugs. But just violence in the home, and sometimes we never talked about it. Of course, you probably figured out that guy is me. And as a kid, we never talked about it. Even growing up, teenage years, early 20s, never talked about it. And even getting into an alcoholic marriage, didn't really talk about it much. And until I'd had enough, and then I learned a big, huge lesson. I have nothing to hide. We don't bury our heads in the sand. You know what? It is what it is. Doesn't mean I preach it from the rooftops, but I still don't hide it anymore. So that's the family secret closet. That's a big one for a lot of dysfunctional families. How about another one? Psychic, being psychic. There's a lot of folks who have psychic abilities, more pronounced than most, and they're terrified of telling anybody about it because they'll think I'm a nut job, they'll think I need meds, they'll think I'm schizophrenic or whatever. That's a big one. There's also another one which I've become more aware of since I've had my metaphysics school, and that's the studying metaphysics closet. And if you're a student listening to this, and I hope my students are, I understand, and I've heard feedback from a number of students that, they enroll in the IMHS degree program, and they're all excited. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to get my doctoral degree, my bachelor's, master's, doctoral degree. They're all excited. And what do they want to do right away? Share it with their family, with their friends. And quite often, they don't get the support that they should. They might get comments like, well, that's not a real degree, and other ignorant remarks like that. It's like a buzz killer. Now I'm not so sure I made the right decision. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to seem like a nut job. And it can kill their spirit. So if that's happened to you, don't let that get to you. And just keep listening to this presentation I'm doing, because I've got some other stuff to go over on how to deal with that. Here's another closet, being an atheist closet. A lot of folks have really thought about the whole religion God thing, and they have decided, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. But they don't want to say anything because all their family are Christians or devout Christians or whatever. So they just kind of go along with it, and some of them even, go to church every week and get involved with it, but they don't agree with it, and they're in the closet. And then there's the abusive relationship closet. Kind of mentioned that a little bit on the alcoholic relationship closet, but You know, they're abusive relationships, and and we've got a lot of psychological dynamics that come into play, the Stockholm syndrome and other things that come into play in those relationships. They don't want to come out of. They don't want to admit. It's the age-old example. A woman has a black eye. Well, what happened? I bumped into the cabinet. Not my boyfriend or husband smacked me, but I bumped into the cabinet. I fell down the stairs, whatever. Excuse me. If you fear what others might think about who you really are, if they were to know this about you, you're in the closet. If you're in the closet, you're living a lie. And a lot of people are doing that, living a lie. Again, many, if not most, closets are from our own making, or they continue as a result of our own decisions. So we're going to talk about what to do in that case. My goal here tonight is not so much to give you the magic pill for coming out of the closet as it is to give you guidelines on some things to consider as you ponder coming out of the closet. I'm going to use the Life Leadership Paragon as the framework for this discussion because it bears on it like it does on about everything in life. If you recall, the Life Leadership Paragon is it's a model of excellence. That's what Paragon means. It includes self-acceptance, self-responsibility, respect for free will, and these three create self-completeness. So we're going to go over each one of these within the context of coming out of the closet. First one is self-acceptance, probably the biggest area here to consider. There are a number of things that keep us enslaved, that is, keep us in that closet. Socio-cultural issues keep us enslaved. Social conditioning, family culture, family beliefs, all those different things keep us enslaved. We might ask, well, what will people think? What will they think? Will they think I'm weird? Will they think I'm a nut job? The fact is that people can be ignorant and they can be thoughtless and often are in times like this. Why? Well, I talked about this in our last broadcast last week. Low awareness. They don't have a higher awareness of people around them and the plight around them, people's plight around them. Probably the biggest thing that keeps us enslaved or keeps us in the closet is them-esteem. Self-esteem is based on internal expectations and validation. We know who we are and why we are who we are. We don't need other people to validate us. We validate ourselves. We have our own expectations. We have a good, healthy self-concept. Them-esteem is based on external expectations and validation. In other words, I only feel good about myself when everybody else thinks I'm doing the right thing. So if I come out of the closet and they don't agree, I no longer feel good about myself because they don't feel good about me. And my feeling good about me is based on their feeling good about me. That's them-esteem. We have to remember some very important points in this regard in self-acceptance. You have to accept yourself just the way you are, warts and all, as Shakespeare said. What else can there be? I mean, you are who you are, right? We are who we are. What else would you expect? You can live a lie, but that drains you. That requires enormous emotional resources to live that lie. You're perfect just the way you are. As long as you strive to be better tomorrow than you were yesterday, you're perfectly you. You are here at this point in life because of the choices and decisions you've made in life. You have a path to walk. Walk it. That's why I chose this card tonight. Be who you are, walk your own path. This is a big part of coming out of the closet. If you don't walk your path, who will? Nobody else can walk your path. Only you can walk your path. If you accept you, warts and all, it doesn't matter what other people think, no matter who they are. Now, I know we all appreciate or respect the opinions of people close to us, family, that sort of thing. But what if they don't agree with who you are? Whether it's being gay, whether it's being a psychic, or taking a metaphysics degree program. What if they don't agree with that? Then what? Are you going to just say, okay, well, then I can't be who I am because they're prohibiting it? How much sense does that make? It makes no sense whatsoever. Think about this, and I really want to get through on this. People can disagree with you. Is that okay? Sure it is. It's fine. It's like, oh, you disagree with me. Wow, I better go find a tall bridge. Not. Why would I do that? You can disagree all you want. You may not agree with my choices, but that's none of your business. And that's the attitude that you have to have. You know, okay, so you coming out of the closet, you're psychic. Great. And they think you're a nut job. So what? Really? So what? Who cares? You might care, you might think it's a big deal, but it's not. Because if they do that, are they your friend? Really? And if it's a family member, do they really have your best interests at heart? They may say they do. They don't want you to think, you know, be looked at as a nut job. Why? Because they're associated with you. If you're a nut job, guess what? They might be a nut job too. And then it comes time for some decisions to be made. If you're gay and coming out of the closet, what else are you going to do? Are you going to live a lie your whole life? There's nothing wrong with that. It is part of human nature. I think we've pretty much established that by now, haven't we? Just because Christianity and Islam and some of those religions look down on homosexuality doesn't mean anything. Now, of course, I'm not telling you to be stupid. You know, you don't go parading that around in the wrong area. You know, you don't want to get hurt or anything by these religious zealots. But just because they say it's wrong doesn't mean anything. I've said this a zillion times. Okay, it's probably an exaggeration, maybe a half a zillion. Everything we believe and every cultural thing we have in this world all started in one place. A thought in somebody's mind. So somebody says, gee, homosexuality, that must be wrong, right? Okay, so then they get a few people who say, yeah, I think that's wrong. And pretty quick, you got, you know, some book being written, like called the Bible, and they don't like it. And of course, there's always Sodom and Gomorrah. Must have been a fun place. I'm not going to even go there. I'm being, what am I being? I'm being a little more facetious. Okay, I'm going to go get off that. So, doesn't matter what people think of you. Let's move on to self-responsibility. So that's self-acceptance. You've got to accept who you are. And let's talk about self-responsibility. We have a responsibility to be who we are and to walk our own path. Think about that. We have a responsibility to do that. Why else are we here? How about denial? When we're in the closet, we may be thinking, no, that can't be right. I'm gay? No, no, please God, let it not be so. What will that mean for my life? And people go through this. And they're in denial. Well, my definition of denial is lying to oneself to evade responsibility. Think about that one for a minute. We're in denial. Why? Because we're lying to ourselves to evade responsibility. We don't want to do something. We don't want to take responsibility for who we are. So we're in denial. All right, that's self-responsibility. Let's move on to respect for free will. We want others to respect our free will, of course, but we have no control over that, do we? People will either respect you or they won't. Here's a tough lesson to learn in life, and if you haven't learned this yet, one day you'll learn it. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how right you are, it doesn't matter how honorable you are, it doesn't matter. Some people are going to like you, and some people are not going to like you. That's just life. And is that okay? Yes, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, when we're on our deathbed, we're looking back, you know, we don't want to have that bad case of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the if onlys, and the might have beens. We want to look back and say, you know what? I lived my life as I chose. I did not let other people dissuade me from being who I am. I remain true to myself. That's a powerful statement, and that's a good feeling to have. We have to remain true to ourselves. It's much more important for us to respect our own free will. Because you see, when we're in the closet, we respect other people's opinions and their free will far more than we respect our own. We take a secondary place to them, to their opinions, to their belief systems. Don't need to do that. In this world, folks, obviously the foundation is do no harm and do right. We got to keep that in mind. Within that context, there's a lot of beliefs. Which one is right? Which one is wrong? They might be right or wrong for us individually, but you know, if somebody's got a different belief than us and they're doing no harm and they're doing right, so what? You know, so what? Doesn't matter. So we have self-acceptance, we have self-responsibility, we have respect for free will, and these three create self-completeness. As I've also mentioned in the program before, when we bring those into balance, into their proper order, they synergistically create self-completeness. Adversity, which you're experiencing if you're in the closet, is nothing more or less than a state of disorder. Think about a messy room. It's all cluttered, things are everywhere. You go and you look at that room and it's like you could say, wow, a lot of adversity here. And that could represent our life, right? Everything's amiss, everything's in the wrong spot. And so we go into that room and we clean it up, we put everything back into its proper order, and it's clean and it looks good, and the energy changes, doesn't it? Same thing with our lives. Adversity is nothing more or less than something is in a state of disorder. You put it back into its proper order, and the adversity goes away. It's pretty logical. And so, when we put self-acceptance back in its proper order, we bring balance to it. When we balance self-responsibility and respect for free will, the adversity goes away. Now, when we come out of the closet with some serious stuff, I mean, if you're gay or if you're psychic or whatever, some really heavy stuff, you have to understand that not everyone may accept that. Is that okay? Everyone say yes. Yes. It's okay. It may polarize your relationships. Maybe a family member won't accept it, but another family member will, so now it's going to cause some strife in the family. Doesn't matter. You have a right to be who you are, and the people that are not accepting you, it's their stuff, not your stuff. Their stuff, not your stuff. What does coming out look like? It means to simply be who you are. It doesn't mean that you go preach it from the rooftops. You don't have to tell every single person you meet on the street, hey, guess what? I'm psychic. Who are you? They might think you're a nut job if you do that. But you don't have to preach it from the rooftops, but you don't hide it either. I mean, it's like I meet a lot of people from through the week and all that, through the days. I don't tell everybody I have a metaphysical church and online school. It just depends whether it comes up or not. If the conversation goes there, if they say, well, what do you do? And then I'll tell them. I don't need to hide it, but I don't know exactly. It doesn't, I mean, same with growing up in an alcoholic relationship and in a marriage and writing the book on alcoholic relationships. I don't tell that to everybody I meet. No need to. If I were gay, that's just who I am. I don't need to tell everybody I'm gay. I don't tell everybody I'm straight. I don't like the straight gay thing, by the way. I don't like straight because, if you're straight, it implies that gay is wrong. I don't like that. All right. Here's the bottom line. Bottom line is you cannot restrain the human spirit indefinitely. You cannot restrain the human spirit indefinitely. Whatever closet you're in, you're going to come out sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. Why not make it sooner rather than later. Proactively do it. Be smart. Do it according to your own terms, but head that direction, because otherwise you're not walking your path and you're not being true to who you are. Never, ever sacrifice who you are for anyone else's beliefs or opinions. I wanted to share a quick experience to wrap this up. One of my students, who we will call Cindy, well, because that's her name. Not really. I won't tell you her real name. We'll call her Cindy. She wrote this just less than a week or so ago. She wrote this on one of her assignments or an email to me. She writes, on a physical level, I feel that talking openly about my clairvoyant experiences has shifted some people's perspectives on metaphysics. I've had family and friends who were once skeptical of my pursuits now actively questioning me with interest about it and even asking for my services. It's only been a year and I've seen progress. It wasn't easy for me emotionally to feel the initial rejection, but I continued to do it because I knew that there would be great value in planting the seed. I have no regrets, and I pushed myself to do it because I wanted to be an example of leadership for people who are intuitive and are afraid of being out, quote unquote. In the immortal words of Abraham Lincoln, whatever you are, be a good one.